What up, everyone? The world has been suffering from overpopulation and population density since decades. And today I will try to clear up some reasons and problems behind this, as well as the current situation and maybe some possible solutions. So fasten your seatbelts because this is gonna be complicated, a little miserable, but exciting.
We can kill the lights, hit the lights, let it black out, hit the lights, let it black out.
In history, we had several demographic booms or dividends, which are population explosions. For instance, when mankind first figured out the agricultural tools and methods, it led to a huge increase in population. Or another example are the industrial revolutions, which actually led to today's overpopulation problem. So, for this to understand, we have to discuss the definitions of population density and population distribution. Population distribution means the pattern of where people live. Population density is typically expressed as the number of people per square kilometer of land area. The value is calculated by dividing the total population by the total land area. To get into it more, let's see the factors that influence population density there. This can be natural and human factors. There are three physical factors that play in. First is the relief, which is the shape of land. In lowlands, flat areas, population density is higher, for example India, while mountains and highlands it's lower, for example the Himalayas. Secondly, resources are a huge factor of it, as areas which are rich can develop more efficiently, so it increases. And for this, Western Europe is the best example. And if a country misses natural resources, they won't have the provided possibilities for better living. In this case, our example can be the Sahel. The last natural factor is climate, as it influences the way of life and agriculture. Countries like the UK got enough rain and naturally extreme weather for crop growing. But the more extreme the climate, the worse are the agricultural opportunities. And for this, Sahara Desert can be a really good example, as they cannot grow crops there. However, there is another side as well, which are the human-made factors. These are economics, social life, and politics. Stable governments can get countries to develop, which creates a higher population density, like Singapore, which works as the opposite, like in Afghanistan. Socially, people want to live close to each other because that creates the feeling of security, like in the US. But in other countries, for example the Scandinavian countries, they very much prefer isolation, which can connect to climate as well. Economics affects jobs, and if there are more jobs, more people will live in cities and highly dense areas. So by this, we can go as far as to say that a society will experience a population growth if it has a demographic transition. As even though the country's geographic features are permanent, the human factors aren't. So that's what happened in the 90s when population density started rapidly growing. Because the new inventions provided a huge variety of jobs, and so more work was done and the economics could flourish, and as a result the average life expectancy was growing, especially in Europe. And this was caused by the industrial revolutions. The industrial revolutions improved technology so much so that less people died. And as well, in some countries, birth control appeared. This was so influential that the human race actually went from 1 billion people to 6 billion in 150 years, which is 6 times bigger. And now let's talk about the structure of the population growth. How a society go through this whole process. Stage 1. Birth rates and death rates are very high. No education or birth control and lack of hygiene, which create low population growth but large families. Stage 2. High birth rates but falling death rates appear thanks to better healthcare, which creates an increasing population. Stage 3. Birth rates and death rates fall due to education and even better healthcare, and birth control appears. Stage 4. This is a stable population when death and birth rates are sort of equal, but actually more death. Good education and high level of hygiene appears and more people uses birth control, resulting smaller families. Stage 5. High but aging population, even less birth and more death, which will make the population decrease. However, all this show that actually well-developed nations and countries have high population density. And the fact is that they do, especially small countries like Macau, Monaco, or Singapore, etc. As we saw, population increases very fast. But the second thing in population density is the land of area, which is the situation where it really gets tricky. Because Earth is obviously highly populated, but more importantly, it is actually unevenly distributed. And either the population stage or the population distribution will cause the problems of countries. So now, let's see continent specifically how the world looks like right now. I know the situation can be very different within continents as well, but this can give you a good overview of the situation. If you're interested in specific countries in case of population, then leave us a comment here and be sure to check the bell icon in order to get notified. So, let's hop into the continents.